From 4 News Now, with live updates throughout the day, breaking news as it happens, and weather every 10 minutes. This is KXLY Plus.
Welcome in for 4 News Now. I'm Rob King. My guest today is one of the touring cast members for Stereophonic. It is the Tony Award-winning play. It's actually the most winning play at the Tony Awards, and it'll be in Spokane October 14th and 15th at First Interstate Center for the Arts. Tickets are on sale now. You can find a link to get them on kxly.com. And joining me is Stephen Lee Johnson. You played Charlie in the show. Stephen, how are you?
I'm pretty good. We're just opening the show officially in Seattle, and Spokane's going to be our second stop, so we're super stoked.
Well, we're excited to have you. We love getting these tours coming through here. Talk to me a little bit of what Stereophonic is about. Let's just start basic.
Stereophonic is kind of a fly-on-the-wall kind of play, almost a documentary feel. Like, what I loved about it when I first saw it on Broadway is, like, in this strange way, you kind of feel like you shouldn't be there, and you're kind of seeing all this stuff that you can't take your eyes away from. It's also very unique in the sense that it's a play, but there's a lot of live music in it, and we have a fully functioning sound stage that's fully operational, and everything happening is completely live every night. And therefore, just like with what I think I love and most people love with live theaters, it's a little different night to night, both musically and in the play itself.
So you got to act, you'll have to sing, play instruments. It's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for Spokane audiences, I don't do any singing in this show. That would be like a true crime if thousands of people had to listen to me sing every night. My character is a sound engineer, but the people who are singing are, to say qualified would be the understatement of the century. They are world-class musicians, and it's really fun to get to watch them every night.
Yeah, it's following this band in the 1970s. They're recording one of their albums. You mentioned that it's a fly-on-the-wall kind of show. Does that kind of inform how much almost intimacy that that you as a performer brings to your character? Because it's almost like we, the audience, aren't supposed to be there. Does that inform you at all?
Definitely. It's not a show where you're kind of like performing for the audience. It's more of a show where you're sort of letting them into your world and sort of trying to like push your world as hard as you can out to them. And I think in that sense, it's pretty refreshing for audiences. Not that there isn't something wonderful about like extravaganzas
Sure.
that come to shows, but this is something a little different, especially something different than what usually tours commercially. And it's just such a thrill because it's a little bit of a trailblazer in terms of the type of show that it is.
Absolutely. I mean, we have Lion King also coming, and I don't
Which
think
is awesome.
These shows, though, opposite sides of that spectrum.
Totally, but like, please go to Lion King too. I've seen it; it's great. It really is.
You know what? We had Beetlejuice here last year. I was not familiar. I was blown away with how good that was.
It's a great show. It has
And
a
that's
huge
a
cult
big-
following for a reason.
As big as that gets.
For sure. Yeah.
But having something like this where it's almost like a straight play, that's got to be an interesting take for you. But your experience, you've actually been to Spokane before. If you recall, you were here when To Kill a Mockingbird came by, and that was extremely successful when that came through Spokane. People raved about it. So how does that experience touring kind of help you now as you embark on this next one?
It really helps me a lot. I mean, a lot of it was my then fiance at the time was touring with me, and we had to figure out how to bring our 2 cats with us on tour, how to make it work for our whole little family unit, how to stay in touch with all of our friends. It's a lot of beyond just like the grind of 8 shows a week and like the intensity of that. There's a lot of personal stuff that goes into it. But my now wife, going into the second tour, I feel like we were able to really hit the ground running. And because I can kind of have like my own kind of like personal life, like so enriched on tour and like know how to really maintain that, I feel like it does reflect on stage in a way that I have more to give every night because I'm able to kind of find this equanimity on tour.
And then as the tour progresses, how do you find that the character develops, if it does?
It totally develops. That's just a natural progression. And we have Daniel Auken, our director, who, I mean, he's amazing. He won the Tony for it, and he should have. And he's very, very open to the idea of sort of like organic growth and changes in the play. And that's what's really cool is like, you know, the show that audiences are going to see in Spokane is going to be a little bit different than what audiences are going to see in a couple weeks in San Francisco, and on and on it goes. And I think that is so much of the joy, not only for the audience, but also for us, because there are other, you know, big commercial sort of machines of shows that are great, but part of the reason why they maintain that like absolute exactly how you saw it last time, even if the entire cast is different, is because they really are tying down those performers in a way that, and again, it's really like apples and oranges. There's nothing wrong with it, but this show, like, you can't tie it down. You can't, if a different actor is on, the whole play is going to be different, and that's the only way it can work. So it's going to be, I think, even more kind of organic in how it changes from night to night in a way that, like I said, I think for audiences, it stays super fresh, which is awesome. But also for actors, for us, it's a total dream.
Yeah, that's got to help not let it be stale, you know, as long as you can kind of change your performance night to night.
Totally. And the thing is I think a lot of big productions don't give the audience enough credit, that they can't sense that on some level. And I feel very excited to share with audiences something that's I really do think gonna be really kind of fresh and impulsive night to night.
Awesome. That's great to hear. I know I'm excited to see it. Before I let you go, I always like to ask the performers coming through town, talk to me about auditioning and getting the call that you're heading back on tour, Stephen.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so I had seen it on Broadway just because my wife had called me. I was still on tour with Mockingbird when it came out on Broadway. And my wife called me and was like, it's one of the best things I've seen in a long time. You have to see this show. So it was one of the first things I did when I came back to New York from tour. And I loved it so much, not thinking in any way I would ever be in it. And especially because the guy who originated my part, he was wonderful, but he's so different than me. It didn't even occur to me. And then I got the audition. And then once I thought about it, I was like, you know what, I can actually, if they're willing to see it a different way, there's a lot of me and this guy. And it was a long audition process. I think I went in 4 or 5 times. These big shows, it's like, it is a harrowing process. But when I finally got it, I cried. I was so excited. I just couldn't believe it. And it was crazy because they had to have a lot of grace for me, because the first day of rehearsal was also the day of my wedding. If it was between the show or the wedding, I have to take my wedding, you know? So they had a lot of grace. They gave me the first 2 days off of rehearsal, which was really, really generous of them and pretty rare, to be honest. But to go from the best day of my life, my wedding, into this really cool rehearsal process, it's just been an embarrassment of riches lately. And I'm just really, really, I couldn't be happier.
Well, from one merry man to another, it is the best. I love every moment of it. So congratulations to you and your wife. Thank you so much. And she gets to come on tour with you, or is she in the show?
For most of it. She'll be with me for most of it. She's with me right now. She'll be back in New York for a couple weeks. And then for about 5 months straight, her and my 2 beloved cats will be with me on the road, which is, again, I'm just the luckiest guy.
How do the cats do on the road?
They're really good because they were bouncing, when they were kittens, they were bouncing around. They're sisters, they're a bonded pair, and they were bouncing around between kill shelters all over the South.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's this really amazing shelter, shout out to Bianca's furry friends in Long Island. And so they as long as they're together in the carrier, they're super chill. The only thing they don't like is airport security, but we can ask for a private.
Who does?
Exactly. That's exactly right. And we if we could get them TSA pre-check, we would, but that's the only thing. Overall, they're really good. They like new places. And as long as they're together, they just nap on the plane and groom each other. And it's pretty good.
Well, I'm glad that that's working out for you. I feel like that would stress me, having animals there. But
We're very lucky. We have very dog-like cats. We kind of suspect that maybe because they were found on the street when they were kittens, we almost suspect that maybe a dog took them in on the street because they kind of think they're dogs.
That's got to be your next project.
Yeah, exactly.
2 cats trying to make it on Broadway in New York.
I'm going to start writing it right now.
Awesome. Well, Stephen Lee Johnson, you've been extremely generous with your time. Is there anything else you want folks to know before I let you go?
You know what? The one thing I'll say is that when I was in Spokane with Mockingbird, it was one of the only times in the entire 2 years I was on tour I got sick. So I missed half the shows in Spokane, and I never missed shows. So I'm really, really stoked because it feels like I get a second chance to have some fun with audiences there.
Yeah, you kind of owe us.
I totally, listen, this is a debt that I am ready to repay.
Awesome. Well, Stephen Lee Johnson, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And you can see Stephen Lee and the rest of the cast of Stereophonic at First Interstate Center for the Arts October 14th and 15th. The link to get tickets, you can find that on kxly.com. For now, in studio, I'm Rob King for 4 News Now.